Hi, it's David from Life with Parkinson's. If you're new here, welcome. We hope you'll consider subscribing. And also please check out our website and store at lifewithparkinsons.ca for more information about this channel and our sponsors. For everybody else, thank you for keeping up with all of our videos and supporting this channel. Your support means everything to us. And we look forward to interacting with you every week and answering all your questions and comments. Haley and I have been talking lately about household aids, like things that would help me get around the house when I'm off. And it hasn't been a fun conversation, but it's been a useful conversation. And it was also spurred on by a couple people that emailed and asked about, say, like hospital-like beds or things to use in the bathroom. So we got a lot of input from those people as well. So we thought, hey, maybe we should call the occupational therapist and see what we can do around our place. Like I've mentioned in the past few videos, I've had some problems getting to and from the bathroom, when I'm really off, when things are bad. I'm not really against it, but I'm not really for it as well. So we're going to talk about that today. We've had our first visit from the occupational therapist, and that's just what we're going to talk about and my thoughts and feelings about that. So stick around. We've got a fun topic to run by you guys, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens and seeing what we're talking about. No, I know what we're going to talk about. I wrote the episode. Not what I imagined. This, I gotta be honest with you guys, this hasn't been the easiest video to make, and I put off writing the script for this till like the last minute, like the 11th hour, just because I didn't want to face what we talked about. Because, I'm only 50, so, talking about ways to get in and out of the shower and, to and from bed to the toilet in the middle of the night when I'm having problems. Not exactly what you thought you'd be dealing with when you're 50 years old. That's okay. I'm not freaking out about it. I promised myself I wouldn't freak out about this, and I wouldn't lose my mind. I want to talk about this anyhow because I know I need the extra help when I'm really off. Just because my on and my off times are way different now. In the beginning, they were really close together. But the longer I've had this disease and the more it progresses, just the difference between them is becoming like going from here to the moon. The one thing I was worried about is because I've been clawing a few of my symptoms back with some of the aids that I talked to the occupational therapist about, like the gloves, the red light, the neck stride, comfort linen, other things that I use. I've been able to claw back some of the symptoms, just a little bit, not like astronomically where it's like, oh, I'm going to go for like a 26 mile marathon or something. So I was like, okay, well, when she gets here, I hope she doesn't get upset. I hope she doesn't think we're wasting our time. And actually, that was the biggest thing I was worried about. She gets over here and she's like, you guys don't need any help. I got to use this appointment for somebody else that actually needs me. That didn't happen. Once we got everybody here, because my in-laws wanted to come and see what was going on, and also Felicia showed up, which was really nice. And then we got kind of like the preamble discussion. We're going over my aids and what I think I need help with. And then she says, well, it's a good thing you called. There's a note on your file. The type of Parkinson's that you have is very progressive and, advances aggressively. I knew that. For a long time I knew that, but it's something I don't think about. It's like, something that you put out of your mind. It's like, I don't want to think about that because it's just kind of a bummer, man. But when, she read that note on my file, I was like, yeah, we've been told that before and we know about it, but it's like I always wanted to ignore it just to step up to the next rung on the ladder and be like, yeah, I'm getting my symptoms back and it's no problem. Just try all these things that I'm using and everything's going to be okay. It's not like that at all. It was more like, yes, I'm using these things, and if I wasn't, I'd be in a lot of trouble more than now. I'd be back to, like, before I got the Movapo, like, begging them, please give me something to help with these symptoms. I'm grateful that I have the things that I have. Just hearing that read out from my file again was like a stark reminder of, what a lot of us are facing. Well, all of us are facing. We're all facing degradation. We're all facing advancing of symptoms. Just everybody's just a little bit different. The other thing that bothered me about that statement is just that I work so hard. I get up and I walk and I stretch and I exercise. And my goal I'm already making New Year's resolutions. Hopefully you guys are getting on board. My goal next year is to do more activities that are proven to help Parkinson's. Like I'm just beginning to get into the boxing. I want to get a ping pong table. I've reorganized the garage, so I've got a proper exercise area. I'll be showing that to you guys soon. I've got all my boxing stuff set up. There's just a few more things I want to do in the garage. So I'm getting organized. Oh, and dancing too. Dancing has been shown to really beat back the Parkinson's symptoms. So I'm going to try and find some dance lessons or some drop-in ballroom dancing. So I'm just looking into those things, and that's really one of my resolutions. My goal in 2023 was to make partnerships and find products and devices that beat back the symptoms for Parkinson's. And I'd like to think that we were very successful this year. And I want to keep doing that into 2024. 2024 is really going to be my focus to really clamp down on exercises and activities proven to help Parkinson's, not just regular exercise. Exercise is good, but sometimes doing the same thing every day gets a little boring. Some assembly required. We got talking to the occupational therapist and she finished her initial interview. Then her and I went to my bedroom and we talked about the problems with me getting in and out of bed. She thought it was funny when I said, I just roll over and fall out of bed like a big old lump of dough. She thought that was pretty funny. And then she wanted to see how I get in and out of bed, and I showed her the various ways that I do, but it always changes. Her big point was that you really should have a bed rail here. You'll find it quite helpful. That got put on the list, and then we went to the bathroom where I explained to her sometimes how I crawl to the toilet and I get up on the toilet using the edge of the bathtub, and she's just like, oh my goodness, David. So I said, yeah, getting in and out of the shower. I usually like to have a shower during the day because that's when I'm most on. It'd be nice to have one in the evening sometime. There's a pole. Someone already told me about this before, but I've got a pole coming, and it's floor to ceiling pole, just pressure installed. It's not screwed in or anything, and it's got a bar on it. It'll swing into the shower, and then I can lean on that bar if I need to, and then it'll swing out of the shower, and then that'll help me get in and out of the bathtub. I'll show you guys the pictures and give you the complete story on the next video. But then that bar will also be in a spot where it'll service the shower and the toilet. So if I'm having problems getting off the toilet, it'll be there to help me as well. So I'm really interested to see what this is all going to look like. Oh, and she's going to get me a different toilet seat as well. It's got some hold on tight handles. So that'll be really good. Because sometimes Kiwi stands at the edge of the counter where which I use to get up and down. So when she's there and I'm off, it's really hard to get off the toilet. What I did learn that I found really interesting is that 75% of the falls when you're inside your home happen in the bathroom. I already know that falling in the bathroom is a bad place just because of the way it's built. And if you get stuck in there and you're alone, it's not a great place to fall. Yeah, if there's something I can do just to help reduce my chance of falling, I'm really happy to do it. I want to be safe and continue to do the things that I want to do. I don't want to freak out. When I'm off, it's terrifying for me to get into the shower. I'll be like, do I really need a shower? I can't smell anything. I've got Parkinson's. To me, I smell golden. Putting things into perspective. It's really good to laugh and joke about all this stuff because sometimes I just need a really good laugh. On the inside, some of these topics are painful. When I was getting this script together, I just randomly thought back to when I was like 8 to 10 years old, playing in the backyard all by myself. Our lot was like a good sized lot. It was nearly 1 acre, but all the homes in kind of a square around this one big plot of forest, I'll just call it, they were all like pretty much 1 acre lots. There were no property lines or fences that anyone was worried about back then, so I just basically had the whole backyard to myself for the most part. There was like an old creek bed that ran through, but the creek had gone underground years ago. And there were all these vine maple trees all around. And there was one spot where a lot of them would intersect. And that's kind of where I would play. I would climb up onto these vine maples. All the ones would intersect perfectly. And I would imagine that it was the cockpit of my spaceship. And I would pretend that I was like Buck Rogers or Starbuck from Battlestar Galactica defending the fleet against the evil Cylons. It's just interesting in some way to look back on my young self, because young David would have had no idea about any of these things that are going on now. He would have had no way to know that at 50, his health would be this way. Not that my health is terrible. It's not like I'm getting tossed out and there's a new version of me coming tomorrow. It's just at 8 or 10 years old, I would have had no way to conceive, no way to relate to the struggles and trials that I have with Parkinson's now. And I loved those adventures in my backyard, as well as other adventures that I took when I was growing up, like band trips, basketball tournaments. And the great thing about that time in my life was that summer vacation seemed to last forever. Like we would get out in June and it's like, oh my goodness, I don't have to be back here till September. I've got 2 full months of summer vacation. That's going to last forever. But now it's like, where does the time go? Like 2 months feels like 2 days. I'll talk to Haley sometimes and I'll be like, how did we ever have time to raise kids when I was working 40 to 60 hours a week? And we had all these activities that we took the kids to. How did we, number one, find the energy to do it all? And how did we actually have the time? My point here is that when I step way back, and I just try and step out of the inside of my world and look at it from a different point of view, I can see things more clearly and understand them. And I think, sometimes I think that, is it really a surprise that as I got older, I started to have more health problems? Because it just seems a normal thing to happen to people. I mean, we can't dodge every bullet or every problem that life throws at us. It's impossible to dodge every single one. Sometimes I need a lot of intervention. Sometimes I just need a little bit of intervention. And at this point, I just need some gadgets and other things to help me around the house when I'm off. So it's not a bad thing. It's not something that I need to freak out about. It's going to be okay. Thank you for watching and supporting this channel, and for leaving your questions and comments below. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to answering them. And let's continue to take this journey together. I'll see you on the next one. Have a great day. Goodbye.